Balance, here to recharge your life. We're here all about our well-being and how to balance it. And today I am so excited to bring you my guest, someone who fits perfectly into this well-being, into all those buckets that we talk about to really, at the end of the day, balance our well-being. So before we get started, I do have to tell you that we are going to give you some tips. We really want you to hone in and listen in, because this is going to be a treat. And I believe that this is something that everybody wants to do, wants to get ready to do, or has even started and has done it already. So let's go ahead and introduce our guest. Please introduce yourself.
Hello, Gio. Thank you for having me. My name is Felix Brambilla. I'm a citizen of the world, let's say. I'm originally from France with a Scottish mother and a Italian-originated father. I'm married to a Cuban lady here in Florida, and that makes my kids wonderful mutts. And we love life. And with that type of inclination and multicultural origin, I spend my life traveling to the point that I made it my job.
Yes. And that's what I love about Miami, right? We're such a melting pot, and you never know who you're going to speak to, where somebody's from, but you live here, and you've lived here for how long?
21 years so far.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you consider yourself a native?
I had a hard time considering myself a native anywhere.
Okay.
But it certainly feels like home.
Okay.
And Miami to me is one of the best places to come back to. You know, when you live in Paris, for example, and you go to the Maldives and you come back in early December in Paris, the traffic between the airport and home is already a punishment in itself.
Yeah.
You come back to Miami and it's even more festive than where you were.
Yeah.
That's the beautiful thing about this place.
And what a great response, because that's usually a question I ask. If you're not from Miami, how many years is the minimum, or after how many years would you consider yourself saying, I'm from Miami? So if you get asked that question today, where are you from? How do you answer that?
I'm originally from the south of France.
Okay.
A big piece of the heart stayed there, and there's no coincidence. The fact that in Miami that shares values with the south of France, you know, the sunshine, the festive people, it takes four to have a party here.
Yes.
You know, you can dance at
Yes.
home. All these things are typical from where I come from. So yes, I think your origin, where you come from, determines how fast you feel where you can belong somewhere else. If you have a similar, roots feel that come in.
Yes. So I love that. And of course, it does not hurt that we are a travel destination, Miami.
Big one.
And so that gives us a little bit of a hint of what we're going to talk about today. So before we get into that topic, though, let's go ahead and run a quick video for our audience to get a sneak peek.
Okay.
2020 was about survival. 2021 became about revenge. 2022 should be about value. Why? Because traveling is so essential to all of us. Let's never again take travel for granted. Be safe on the road in 2022.
I just have to take a breath after I watched that video. When I saw that video for the first time, it literally disconnected me. I took a pause, I took a breath, and there was something really feel good about that video. So, from your perspective, what's that video about?
It's about the extremes that we've all faced in a very recent past. We went from living our life and taking everything for granted, including our freedom of movement. And then from one day to the other, we all got locked in, first in our homes, then in our states, then in our borders. And all we wanted was to burst out and start exploring and start traveling again. And when finally this was possible, it became a sudden orgy of getting on planes and not thinking. And we called it revenge travel. So from my side of the business, it's good news, right? It's obviously consumption, but I do that business for other reasons than just consumption. And I got scared when I saw how people were just rushing into everything and not even appreciating. It was like the lessons that we were supposed to have learned during this entire pandemic were gone. And maybe those reminders and what's happening to us is somewhere telling us, hey, don't rush. You've learned that it's important to enjoy things. So this is what we're talking about. The people featured on that video are my colleagues from here and from around the world. And we all miss this really, really much. And we just want to enjoy it now, but we want to take our time in enjoying it. Just not that fury of like, let's do it, let's get a selfie and next. It's not like this anymore.
Yeah. And you said a key word of there was so much that was taken away from us in the last couple of years, which has a lot of truth to it. And it depends what was taken away from you. And you're right. One of those things was the freedom just to move about wherever, even down the street, to your local eatery. And when we think about travel, we think vacation, we think outlet, which is a huge part of our well-being. We often just go constantly and not realizing, and I share this all the time, that in order to go faster, you actually need to slow down, because if you slow down, you can actually be more efficient and keep going.
Indeed.
So we're really talking about your business and what you do today, which is around travel. So give me some specifics as what do you do?
All right. We believe that travel has a different meaning to any of us, and we should find that meaning, not because it's packaged on our behalf, but just because the environment is favorable to us finding ourselves when we travel and finding others. So what we do and what we specialize in is we create an environment for a story that you will write, you, the travelers. There's 3 elements, in fact, that come into play. The destination, that's the decor. And regardless of where it is, it doesn't have to be far. It could be an hour from your home. It could be even closer than that. But that setup that you're going to find yourself in is supposed to be already a source of inspiration, because it takes you away. It boosts that need for balance that you have in everything. And then the second thing is the local heroes. What we call the local heroes is those people that provide you, that guide you, that provide you that original, authentic experience. But beyond their role, it's the fact that they're part of that community. And you can totally sense what it is to live there when you interact with these people. And the third ingredient to the story, again, it's you.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's why your story in the same place that I would visit would be completely different. And this is what we specialize on. We provide those ingredients, and then you go and you take all that you want from a destination, but you come back with way more than pictures and things like this. You come back with souvenirs, lessons, that you chose and that you will decide how you carry in life.
That just sounds wonderful. Absolutely wonderful.
Let's go.
Yeah, absolutely. Where are we going?
Yeah.
And you're right. So a lot of us have expectations of what it should look like, but yet you're saying it could be anything. There's simplicity, or you can dream it as big as you want, and it's there, right? So creating moments in our life that means something, so that you can go back and really say, wow, I did that. And by doing that, here's what I've taken away from it. Here's the lesson. So everything I'm hearing from you is just not about going through the motions of doing your job and what your role is as a business owner, but it's having an influence on people's lives that has such meaning to it, that is a trickle down effect in all areas of their life.
I believe so. When
you look at it. So not that I'm putting pressure on you, but that's very impactful. That is, it's almost as if, you were a part of someone's process for their first home, right? You're a part of a family or a person's life moments that they will forever remember. So how do you decide that this is what I'm going to do when I grow up as my passion?
Well, there's this instinct that we have or we don't have initially to want to explore. It starts on your bicycle, then you get the engines, and then you always want to discover. But really, what happened in my life is I was initially in the corporate world. I was in an advertising agency, and I was invited by the media and things like this to go and listen to a classical concert in Prague on a private jet, and every time it was very well done. But what a frustration that I was in a bubble and that I would never meet anyone on site, that I would never have the opportunity to wander a little bit, to speak, to decide, And so after being frustrated and not finding this, one day we said, okay, let's do it. And, and it was kind of a side thing, and took two ladies. My sister was included in these two ladies, and we put them in an attic in Paris. And a year later, we owned the entire building. We had a bunch of employees, and we were helping 50,000 people a year to go on holidays. So I guess it was, but you have to feel it if you want to be able to communicate.
Correct. And what a great point, because you're passionate about that. So you saw the need. So it's almost as if it was not necessarily a problem, right? You just saw a gap as to something that you desired. So you created the need and did something about it. So you took a risk, you left your corporate job and started your own business.
Indeed.
Okay.
It started with a phone. When I exported the business and I brought it to Florida, I started with a phone and a desk and and a blank sheet.
I love that story, because think about it. How many stories how many success stories are out there that just started like that? I mean, what comes to mind is someone like Michael Dell, who started in his garage. Like, how many successful people are today running these great businesses of ideas that we never thought about, but when we realized, we're like, oh, I want that. I want to be a part of that. I love that story. I think it's great. And so you've been in this business now how many years?
So full-time, 22 years.
22 years.
Yeah.
Okay. 22 years in 2022.
Indeed. Now.
Don't get me talking about numbers, because that's very powerful there.
Okay.
So that means
I'll take it.
Something big is going to happen this year. This is our year, which, by the way, I'm telling that to everyone, that this is the best year ever. That's it. We're going to have the best year ever.
Well, if the big thing could be a little bit of a quietness and peace, I'll take that too, because we've had a lot of big things. But I see it. Absolutely. It's, again, we've been through extremes, and now I think people want meaning, and it's the same thing in everything. I think that 5-6 years ago, Americans were one of the nations in the world that used their paid holidays the least. Okay, it was pretty incredible. So yes, work, live to work. I think there's more than that. I think the Europeans show us how to slow down, how to take the time, those longer lunches and things like this. We all have to be productive. It's a certainty. But if we don't recharge, if we don't give ourselves the opportunity, to also bring in new ingredients in our life, at one point, we're going to be running in circles.
And you bring up a great point, right? It's about not giving ourselves permission to take these timeouts, these moments, these outlets, call it whatever you want, however your brain wants to justify it. So how does someone start? Like, how do they give themselves permission? How do you take this moment and say, okay, I'm going to do this?
Too often it's when people start saturating, right? And then they need to heal. And travel can heal you. It's certain. And we actually all look for something different. Some people are dreaming of a book on a beach and no phones. Some other people are dreaming of an adventure in a exhilarating thing, and some others will want culture, that type of thing. So, first of all, you gotta identify what you want. And a lot of people call us and tell us, I just have this feeling, I just need to go somewhere. I remember there was a company in the United Kingdom called Black Tomato Travel. Very impressive. They're very present. They're a wonderful company. And one of the things that they did back in 2006 or 7 is they created a panic button on their website. And you would be in your office and things would start saturate. You would click the panic button. And from that moment on, they would basically direct you to the airport, deliver whatever you needed to go on a trip, and you could go right there and then. And I think, it's an extreme, but what a creative idea. Today, it's about that. It's about trying to identify, listening to people. Too many people in my industry will talk to you and try to sell you something. Oh, I need to hear what you like. I need to hear what you miss. I need to hear all these things, and then we can put something together.
Wow. And what a great foundation to come from, a feeling. And that's where you start. But if I could give our audience probably something very tangible that I heard recently that I actually adopted myself in regards to creating these opportunities for me to have time out vacation, is specifically right now in January, take advantage that your calendar is in front of you for the next 12 months. And the first thing you should do right now is carve out those weeks that you're going to take vacation, or you have the intention that you're going to take that time off. Because I think that's one of the probably biggest obstacles, is just allocating that time. And we wait for too long and we justify it. So I'm telling our audience today, go on your calendars and put your vacation time on there now.
And protect it. Protect that moment, because so many interferences are going to come in. And it's funny, it's not a question of age, because, you know, the older we get, the more caught up we are, you know, and we always think, I'll do it later. And then some people wait until they have the resources to do it. But I see, you know, the problems in travel are the same ones for the wealthiest. There's a funny thing about the anecdote that you might react on, that I encountered in my business. People tell me sometime, because I service some luxury customers, and they tell me, what defines luxury in travel? And it's funny that a few years back, luxury was, it had to be expensive. Then luxury had to be something that was very hard to access.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Then it had to be exclusive. But really, what luxury, you know, boils down to today, it has to be individual.
Yeah.
It has to be for you. Because if you're going to spend a lot of money, you should be ashamed of doing the same thing as everybody else, right? You're allowed to your moment, and it's probably through the authenticity of things that you find it, you know, and that's what we promote. And of course, it comes with all the bells and whistles.
Yeah.
You know, there is a trip for everyone out there. There's an opportunity. There's an experience. Sometimes you don't even have to overnight somewhere.
Oh, wow.
You just go and you just enjoy something somewhere, and you create that opportunity to feel better.
Okay. I love that. Again, love your industry. I think everybody needs to be informed or reminded that this exists, and everyone has access to this, no matter what their definition of luxury is. Let's talk about industry, travel industry. You go back and there was travel agencies, and just like we have forgotten languages, some may think that the travel agency term service is also kind of gone and past. Tell me about that industry today and how, again, existing today.
Well, it's a matter of the evolution of the audience, right? You're a travel agent. I'm a travel agent. We're all travel agent, because we all have the tools today to organize our own things. So how do you justify somebody telling you, I'm going to advise you, I'm going to recommend things for you if you're so independent? It's a question of having a more than a snippet. It's a question of having a real integration with the destinations, a real understanding. It's a question of having sent numerous people before you go somewhere, and all of these people have done the groundwork for you. They've all pioneered something, and, you know, we've identified things that could be more interesting to you than others. So that's where we come in. And of course, after, there is as a job, we're there also to get the better deals, you know, for everybody. So yes, it's really today the job of travel agent is collecting live information, and being able to process it, to redistribute it to people, and let them make their choice.
Okay. And I can see that. And what a great point, because I believe that I'm one of those examples, in the sense of, I know that this year I want to go somewhere and I want to do something, but I don't know what. I don't know where to start. So absolutely, if I could get guidance, or let's call it mentorship, around opening up those opportunities, that would make it a lot easier.
Right.
So that definitely, I connect with that. I heard you on that. So maybe an idea for myself to say, I don't have to come up with it on my own. I can get support and help.
You can. And more often you're going to come up with a longer list than you expected.
Probably.
And the good thing is, you have time.
Definitely.
You have time. A lot of the places are
Yeah.
not going away.
Yeah.
I know we all have drama in with nature and things like this, but luckily there's so many places here that you can go, and you're going to find your enjoyment. I mean, recently I had people that wanted to go and wrestle sharks in the Bahamas. Not kill, not hurt, wrestle sharks. So you have a little island in the Exumas where you basically put a rope with a bait, and then the sharks try to take it and try to pull you from the beach. To everybody, his fun. I had another client that wanted me to set up to carve a table in the snow at 14,000 feet in the Alps for him and a group of people to enjoy a gourmet meal on top of the world. So to each one his own. And then you have some way more humble and modest wishes. We make it happen.
Yeah. So did you all hear that? If you can dream it up, if you can think it, it can happen. It's the reality of it. And you can make that happen. How amazing, amazing. So exciting. I'm going to take just a little bit of a step back. As a business owner, you manage quite a bit of employees. You yourself have a lot of focus around your own well-being and balancing your time. I am going to put you on the spot because in having conversations with you, you are an amazing boss. You really hold your employee. Well, you are tough. I got it for sure. But you hold your employees' well-being as a priority because you know that without them, your business doesn't thrive. It doesn't move forward. Tell us a little bit around, as a business owner, having the challenge with COVID and everything that's happened. How have you supported your employees to tell them, hey, I'm here. Your well-being is important to me. I get it. Some people may think it's more of a personal thing, but as business owners, I do say that we are responsible for getting involved with that. So tell me a little bit about how you guys were affected. What are you doing? Because I know you're also very passionate about that.
Well, I think the key was empowering the people in the decision making. When this hit us, when the pandemic hit us, our industry it was a knockout in the first round. And so we had two options. And the most logical one was like, go dig a hole and wait until this thing passes, save your resources, come out of the hole and resume. We didn't know how the governments in each country were going to support the people without revenue. So I give them a plan B. And I said, I need a unanimous decision if we're going to do this. But the other thing is we can be the resource that people will wake up to, because before we can travel internationally, there's going to be a reopening that will be domestic. People will need to be off the grid and very isolated before they go back to a city, a resort, or anything like this. So we could be the people that are ready when this happens, and we can communicate and we can help our partner vendors to be ready for this. And it was a unanimous decision. It didn't even take more than a 15-minute time of reflection. And every one of my employees said, we want to sail the storm. And at the end of this sailing, being the only one there at that time, we came out to a wonderful set of islands and treasures, but the ship took a hit and the sailors were very tired, but they owned it. And through all that, I think we accompanied them. We allowed them to own the decisions that they made. Everything was collective in terms of decision, and so much good came from those brainstorming and those ideas, and from people just being inside and needing to at least let the brain work. So yes, that's how we did it, empowerment.
Wow. So yes, so you pivoted with empowerment and challenging yourself to find opportunities that you knew were there. You just went
they were
to
there.
go looking.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I think that is absolutely wonderful. So a couple last question here. 2022, I love the word value that you used in that video. What is your hope for 2022 and vision beyond?
It's a complicated question,
Yeah.
this one. Very complicated question.
Let's say according to your industry, people, and really to your vision, or should I say your mission, which is really creating these moments, not taking for granted, opportunity, and really getting back out there and having positiveness around us.
A lot of people talked about the new norm
Mhm.
and what it was going to be, living after. Now it's kind of living with it. But what we miss in everything that has happened, we were able to retravel and all that, but people want to congregate, celebrate, rejoice. And for instance, our company has been chosen to represent the FIFA World Cup, greatest event in the world. Here in the United States, for the representation of it, it happens in the Middle East. And there's two things. There's the fact that I hope a lot of people can go. Right now, we have a huge following here in the United States. It's actually the biggest following ever that a World Cup has had. What I see behind the fact of being able to go over there and celebrate is great human things are going to happen. Look, this is the first time that the Middle East, because this takes place in Doha, is going to host an event of that magnitude. I took with me some colleagues when we first did our preparation trip. And, some of them had family in the militaries here, so they had certain preconceptions about what a Muslim would think of them. And when they arrived over there, they were like bluff. They saw fathers like them, mothers like them. They saw everybody caring about the same thing. And I think 2022 can bring us more willingness to understand each other, more indulgence. And I think an event like this is going to be absolutely amazing because we're going to rediscover all of each other. And I see this year, hopefully, I mean, I don't sound like I'm impatient, but I hope we have a lot of peace this year. I really hope this is what comes to us, and travel can be one of the ingredients to reach that peace.
Yes. And I think part of the ingredients that we have been so lacking and want, and I love that you brought up the World Cup, because it's about connection, unity as a whole, just not the US, the world, humanity as a whole. I mean, of what we've been through in the last couple of years. And just your words really touched me. And I would share the same sentiment in the sense of, I think peace, connection, and just enjoying ourselves and not looking above or below with anything. I think that's great. And so imagine, you think about the simplicity of travel, but really the big picture and how influential and what it can really do for just not us individually in taking vacations, but what it can do as a whole. So
yeah, it can bring the best of us out.
Yes.
I attended a game where they were a Tunisian and Algerian, and always the best of friends. It was a big rivalry, and I was in the middle of a lot of Tunisian fans with big drums. I mean, my head was like this, but I wanted to impregnate myself with this. Algeria scored first, and I saw a man standing next to me from Tunisia hand his drum to an Algerian fan so he could celebrate and hit the drum. I mean, come on. We need a lot of that, right?
And I think that that's our theme. I think that is the overall summary of our conversation today. And that is, it's time to celebrate. It's time to have these feel-good moments. We can create them no matter how simple they are, which is in our backyard, whether it's leaving the country, wherever it is, finding the outlets for ourselves, because this is so needed for our well-being, the wellness, recharging, call it whatever word it is. And so, Felix, I cannot tell you how much I'm so grateful that you came today and to share this word with us, because it is a message that I think everyone needs to hear. It's possible and it can happen, and we can start today. And that's it.
Yeah, make sure it happens. Protect these moments.
Yes.
You need them. We all need them.
Yes. And having more of these conversations to know that you're here to help us do that. If not, ask, or we can do it ourselves. It's all based on the feeling and the need and what we can do, because we're all travel agents, right?
Yeah, we are all.
Anyway.
We're all.
Well, great. Thank you so much for coming.
My pleasure.
And
Thanks for having
I cannot wait to hear all your adventures this year, as well as
I'll share them.
else. So,
I hope you get yours.
Yeah. I will. I'm going to figure it out. So
Super.
yeah. So there you have it. It's about recharging your life, finding that outlet, balancing your well-being. And there's no other better way to do it than to travel. Plan that vacation, that time off. Do it today. Set aside that time and create those moments that you so highly deserve. Thank you. And we'll see you next time.